So this story, I told parts of it before. There was one evening that it was just an average day. Ryan and I were watching a movie. I don't even remember what movie it was. It was a Kendrick's brother movie about a high schooler who wanted to join track, and she had asthma, and everybody was telling her she can't. She persevered, and it was just a great story. And so once the movie was over, we were talking about about the plot and how encouraging that was, of just keep going. When everybody around you tells you're crazy, just keep going. And so we were talking about the movie and kind of settled in, and all of a sudden the room in the living room, all the lights dimmed. It's like someone turned a dimmer on, and the air changed. It was heavier and thicker, and you could sense a darkness. And I looked over at Ryan, and he's just on his phone doing his thing, and so I could tell he didn't see it or feel it. It was just me, and then very quickly I started to get racing heart, and I started sweating, and anxiety and fear and terror is the only word I could think is terror. Just came over me, and I looked over at Ryan, and still nothing. And I'm like, I might be having a heart attack. Like something is not okay. And my first thought was a heart attack, and I was like, no, there's no pain. There's no it's just it's emotional. And so I'm like, this is a spiritual attack. And so I started praying, and I'm like, okay, Lord, you're in charge. You know what you're doing. Help me get out of this. Make whatever it is go away. And so I started, and this is all in my head during the time. And then so I started reading. I'm like, okay, I need to put something in my head, something productive, something Jesus. I need to put him in. And so I started reading the Bible, and no, it's not going away. So I told Ryan, we need to start praying. We need to start reading. Something's going on. I'm being attacked. We need to be verbal. And so he starts reading Psalms, and I start praying out loud, and finally it goes away. And it was probably maybe 2 minutes, but it felt like an hour. But I was exhausted. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's gone. The lights felt like it wouldn't go, but were back up, and the air was normal again. And I was like, what was that? And then I heard God say, well done, rest up for the next one. I'm like, I don't know what that means. What's the next one? And so I'm like, I just need to go to bed because I'm exhausted. That wore me out. And so I went and laid down, and I'm just going to bed and laying in the bed, and all of a sudden the room lit up so bright. I've never seen anything that bright before. And it was startling at first, but then there were 4 beings in my room. They were angels. They were golden outlines. They were bright, and they were wearing these white garments, and they had their weapons. These 3, there were 3 on the corners of the bed, and then these 3 all had weapons drawn, each with a different weapon. And then one was where Ryan would normally lay, and he was stroking my hair, and trying it was soothing, trying to soothe me. And I was just looking around, just in awe, complete awe of what was happening. And I realized I've made these guys work extra hard tonight. And so I, in my head, I thought, oh, thank you, angels. That was, you worked hard, great job. You fought the battle, or we fought the battle together and won. But then I realized they're angels, they're not God. They can't hear my thoughts. And so I verbally said, thank you, angels, for all you've done tonight. And the one that's laying down, and this one standing here, looked at each other, and you know how when a child does something super cute and you're like, oh, that's cute. They looked at each other that way. And then this one looked at these two kind of like the same way, and they all looked down at me, and they all went to look at their other corners. And so you can tell that they were still working. But it was just so cool to have that interaction. And then all of a sudden they were gone. And I fell asleep, and the best night's sleep I've ever had. But then a couple years later, I was driving on my way to work, and they appeared in my car. And the one that was on the right, on the bed, stroking my hair, was in the passenger seat. The one that was here was on the hood of my car, and then the other two were in the back seat of my car. And I was like, like driving, like trying to stay, focused on the road because I'm driving. But I'm like, this is kind of cool. And driving down the road, and turns out that on my way there was an accident. That the car in front of me was like a big like Ford F-150 or something like that, and then it was hit by a car that was hit by another car. And so the Ford in front of me, it looked like it exploded. And there's no way that the soul that I was driving at that time would have been able to take that impact. And so I know that they were working overtime again. And I'm not sure why God gives me the opportunity to see them. But they're cool, and I like to talk about them because they're a part of me. I don't know. I want to know them because I've talked to Joanna, that's our BSF leader, and she's prayed to have the name, yes. And so she knows the name of hers, but she's never seen them. And I was like, I would love to know their names. What's really cool is, like, you hear, there was a shooting in Texas, I think it was last year. And there was a bunch of kindergartners that were out on the playground when the shooter showed up, and he completely missed them. And now they're like giving like witness testimonies of these kids that are telling, or that were on the playground, and they're all like, did you see the golden men? Did you see the golden men? Did you see the dome? And so it's like God just like put a bubble around them and sent the angels in there to protect them. And like, he's so real. I don't know why. Yes. It's an honor and a terrifying all at the same time. I don't know how. Yes. Honestly, the dome, the dream one, that one was, now it's a blessing. But before it was absolutely devastating, because here I am looking for a purpose and my mission and my plan for life, and I get, in my 19-year-old brain, who's, teenagers are kind of greedy, they're give me everything laid out for me. And in that 19-year-old brain, I got nothing. And so that was devastating. And I think for me, I think part of it was I was so deep down into the depression that I would need something big to bring me out of it. And yeah, because I was in a dark, dark place on multiple occasions. So, but Jesus.